Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. What? Pokemon Go Festival is evolving. Congratulations, your festival has evolved into a disaster. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellis, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you, Patrick?
Also pretty good. My burn is healing pretty well.
Wow, yeah, that looks much better.
Yeah, it's just like a little pink line on my wrist now.
So now, after about a week, are you still thinking you weren't sure if you were going to get a scar?
I think no scar.
Okay.
I'm guessing no scar.
Are you sad about that? Because I think a cool scar is worth having.
A cool scar, yes, is worth having. There's no good war story with this one, right? It's just, I was trying to make...
It's an opportunity to embellish.
Sure. I was wrestling with the toaster oven.
Great.
Starved.
It was out of control.
Yes.
It was threatening my girlfriend.
Uh-huh, that's right.
Yeah.
We were both very hungry. It was withholding food, threatening to burn the house down. No, I'm doing much better now. Weather report.
It's been nice.
It's
I
been
don't know,
nice.
not like much change.
Yeah, I think it's gradually getting cooler.
Yes, but those of us in LA know that that's just a feint. It will get warmer
right
at the end of August, early September.
Remind me when this breaks. Like November? When do we stop being too hot?
I feel like, like usually by mid-October we're feeling pretty good.
Okay, all right. And the rainy season, such as it is, eventually comes.
Yeah, yes.
I'm just looking for some sweet release.
Well, why don't we look for that release in our guest weather this week?
Yeah, our guest weather this week is Quito, Ecuador, which seems to be, for being like on the equator, kind of chill, right?
Yeah.
It looks like it is nighttime there as we record this, but it looks like they are rocking mid-60s, kind of a lot of humidity, but it's basically the rainforest, so that seems fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Big ups to our Ecuadorian listeners.
Yep, big ups. Grande ups. Mark, what have you been playing this week?
So, Splatoon 2.
Oh, yes.
Of course, was released last week, and we've been digging into that, but we won't be talking about it too much on this show, because we're going to be talking about it on Thursday.
That's right. So get in all of your Splatoon playing time and tune in for that. I didn't finish the single player, did you?
No, I didn't finish
okay,
the single
not
player.
Even, okay, great.
Yeah. And then not Nintendo related, so breaking the format a little bit, but the Destiny 2 beta came out, and
You were a big Destiny 1 guy.
Yeah, I put a lot of time into that game. Played some Destiny 2. The beta does not have very much in it. It's like there's an opening story mission and then one strike, and that's pretty much all I did because I'm not a PvP person in Destiny. And it was fine. Like the strike is like a step up from most strikes in the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that was most interesting to me is we had talked about before, and on the show we had brought it up that I was looking to get a Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch when Splatoon 2 came out, because I wasn't sure that I would like the Joy-Con grip, especially playing like a shooter, I guess, on the Joy-Con grip. And after playing with the Joy-Con grip on the Switch for so many months and only occasionally picking up the DualShock or 4, what do they call it?
It's a DualShock 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're consistent with the numbering. So the PlayStation 4 uses the DualShock 4.
That makes sense.
Perfect.
It's too big.
Oh.
It felt too big. Like, I have grown very accustomed. I really like the Joy-Con grip, which kind of surprises me because the button layout configuration is a little interesting.
Right.
But it really works for me.
Yeah, and you train your hands with 200 hours of Breath of the Wild, and it doesn't matter what what
Yeah,
your preferences are.
Exactly. So exactly. So it was really hard for me to go back to using a DualShock 4 for Destiny. I thought I would like drop back into it really easy because I had spent so much time in the original game, but not so much. And so now I'm thinking maybe I won't get a Pro controller. I don't see
Wow,
the
bold.
need, especially because after I put quite a few hours into Splatoon 2 as well and was doing fine. So
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage not using it.
On the topic of controllers, I came into possession of a 8BitDo SNES Pro 30 controller. This is the controller that 8BitDo makes that is effectively a small Super Nintendo controller with 2 analog thumbsticks on it that can be used on the Switch. So it takes a little bit of finagling. You have to update the firmware, which is its own thing.
On the controller itself?
On the controller itself, yeah.
And it looks like, what kind of, is it a lightning port? What or like a USB,
It's
mini
just-
USB
yeah,
port?
it's a mini USB
And
port.
so do you have to connect it to a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
To download the firmware update and then update that, and then there's just like little tricks you have to remember to, like, when you turn it on, you have to hold the Y button to put it into switch mode so it can communicate with the Switch. But then it's got most of the functionality of a Pro controller without the motion. So it's been great for Mario Kart. Especially when compared to as like a second controller, or now with one Pro and the set of Joy-Cons, I've got 4 controllers, so you can I've now rounded out the controller library there.
Is it easy to pair it to the Switch itself? I mean, once you've updated the firmware, and is it just Bluetooth? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's it. And so like the first time I paired it with the Switch, there's a little bit of like I had to watch a video tutorial to walk me through it. But now, when I start the Switch up, I can't turn it on from the 8BitDo controller. But as soon as the Switch is on, I can just hit L and R on that controller, and it syncs right away.
That's cool. It looks really cool.
It's got like a little bit of a regular NES aesthetic to it, like the black and red, and like kind of gray. It's really cool. I'm very happy with it. And yeah, so recommended. And I can use it to play on a computer or anything if I find myself really needing to play Owlboy or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that is the other thing. I use it to play a little bit of Mighty Gunvolt Burst. Hold on, none of that's right. Mighty Gunvolt Burst. And Shovel Knight and some other stuff. Like it's gonna be really good for that kind of game.
And does it feel satisfying? Like the clickiness of the buttons and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it all feels good. Like it in no way feels like a third party controller. I guess for me has the connotation of like this is a bad controller.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that paradigm is just gone now. That a third party controller can be just as good as something Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony makes. I also spent a little bit of time this week playing the Hey Pikmin demo. We'll talk about that, I guess, a little bit more when we get to the new releases because the game is coming out this week. But man, if you don't have a way to prop up your 3DS while playing this game, you can't play it.
Really?
Well, because it is, you play it with your left hand is on the thumbstick. That's how you control Olimar. And your right hand with the stylus controls the Pikmin. So like you tap it to like throw the Pikmin around the screen. So you're holding the 3DS with one hand, and like it's not a heavy machine, but it's too heavy to hold with one hand, especially while you're pushing against it with the other hand.
Because do you also need, like, does the little C stick nub or the buttons, do you use those at all?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can use the buttons. You can use the ABXY buttons as a D-pad if you're left-handed and using the stylus with your left hand.
Gotcha.
But that's it. So it's exactly like Kid Icarus Uprising in that regard, where like it's the control works if you have a way to have this thing suspended in front of you. I was playing with my stand, which seemed like a necessity. It doesn't. The 3 levels that are in the demo are all super easy and not particularly engaging. But it looks cute, sounds cute.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorta is Pikmin.
it doesn't look that promising. Like, do you have any intention of picking it up?
I do not.
Yeah, same
But,
here.
Mark, should we move into the new releases?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So a lot coming out on Switch this week.
Mm.
So July 25th, which is today. Is that right?
That's right. That is right.
Okay. Yeah. Fate Extella, the Umbral Star, is coming out on Switch.
Okay.
It appears it's an RPG of some sort.
Sure.
Features bosomy anime babes.
Boom anime babes.
And then also Infinite Mini Golf comes out on the eShop today.
I don't know anything about Infinite Mini Golf.
I don't really either.
Well, if you want to play mini golf and never stop playing mini golf, that may be the game for you.
On July 27th, on the 3DS eShop, Kid Trip is coming out. And as a new 3DS eShop exclusive, Swipe. I don't know what Swipe is.
Okay. We don't need to know about all these releases.
No, that's impossible.
Plus, there's some other cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, that we're actually excited about.
Yeah.
So on the 27th, on the Switch eShop, there's Cubics Paint, Physical Contact Speed, which you might be saying to yourself, didn't you talk about that last week? Yes, of course we did. Of course the release date changed. Of course we're not going to talk about it anymore. The Neo Geo game for the week is Super Sidekicks,
which is a soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
One that I think both of us are excited for is Overcooked, the special edition.
Yes, and this was announced. The release date was announced really recently.
Yeah, I think today.
It might have been today. It's coming out on Thursday.
And by today, we of course mean yesterday.
Right. Monday, because you are listening to this the day it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Overcooked Special Edition comes out. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, this game was featured in the Nindies Direct that we had a few months back. I'd love to have another one of those.
Another Nindy showcase, or yeah, me too.
But also I just want the games that were already announced to come out. Stardew Valley,
Pocket Rumble,
supposed to be March.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley, summer. You still got a little bit of time. I'm not angry, just anxious.
Right. Not angry yet.
And then Ultra Hyperball also comes out for the Switch eShop on the 27th. And then on the 28th, big day.
New Nintendo hardware.
The new Nintendo 2DS XL is released that day.
Along with 2 games.
Hey, Pikmin.
Hey, Pikmin.
The Miitopia. It's just called Miitopia. There's no "the" in front of it.
The Miitopia.
And there's some Pikmin series amiibo that are coming out.
It's just one amiibo of it's like a statue with some Pikmin on it, but it's just one amiibo.
Oh, okay. And then, so are you going to get a 2DS XL?
So I've got one pre-ordered through GameStop.
Smart.
And I don't know if I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah, I am very interested in it.
Yes.
And this is probably a dumb thing to do, but I'm going to wait till there's a game that I want for it, which I'm thinking is going to be Samus Returns, or the Return of Samus.
Samus Returns.
Samus Returns. But I have a feeling that other people will be doing the same thing, and it may be difficult to acquire one once I actually want to.
So maybe I should just pick mine up on Friday and just have it.
I mean, I
just in case.
I would say only do that if you know you're going to get one in the future, for sure, because you already have a new 3DS.
That's right.
That has all the functionality of the 2DS.
Yeah, and I don't really want to transfer it over. I have just talked myself out of buying.
Yeah,
this thing.
I am, from your perspective, the only reason, if I were you, which I am not.
Right.
This is Mark's voice.
And this is Patrick's voice.
If I were you, the only reason I would buy it is so I could lord it over you being Mark in this scenario.
And this is Patrick's voice.
When you, Mark, do not have one.
But if Patrick, this is Patrick's voice.
Yeah.
if I pick up the 2DS XL,
Mhm.
new 2DS XL,
Yes.
to lord over you when you do not have it, then I will have it and could, in fact, sell it to you
Yeah,
at market value
or more.
or marked up value.
Anyways, I think I'm going to try to get one eventually.
Yeah.
But not right now. And then for the Switch eShop, also on July 28th is Namco Museum, complete with Pac-Man Versus.
So I would say most of Namco Museum, a little bit of a snore.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're an arcade hound, which
Who is?
who is?
But Pac-Man Versus is a big deal because it is not available in a lot of different formats. The last time it was out was on GameCube, and it used the Game Boy Advance peripheral so one person controls Pac-Man and the other 3 players control ghosts. And the ghosts are playing on the TV, and they have like a limited space that they can see on the map. And Pac-Man has the whole screen on the Game Boy Advance where he's trying to avoid the ghosts. And the way that this works on the Switch is that if you want to play 4-player games, you need to have the 2 switches. You have to have 2 switches talking to each other, and one person will be controlling Pac-Man on one switch while the 3 ghosts are on the other. It seems super cool, and I really want to play this game. I don't care about Dig Dug or Galaga or whatever, but I may be picking this up just to play Pac-Man Versus.
Well, and we talked about this last week, but the cool thing is you could pick it up. I could download the download play thing.
Yeah.
And we would be able to play the multiplayer on our 2 switches.
Yeah. Super cool. And it's a little bit of a bummer that you need like a second person to get that full Pac-Man Versus experience, but we'll do it. We'll get it done.
Well, it said there is a way to do it with a single console, right? Where 3 players teaming up to chase down a computer-controlled Pac-Man.
Yeah, it's not really the complete experience though of like the sort of lopsided multiplayer of 1 versus 3, just sort of 3 people working together against a computer.
So, the Namco Museum being released on the 28th, I don't understand Nintendo's their release windows for Switch games, where there's not a one specific day where everything that's coming out on the eShop will be released,
right?
And one specific day where things like physical releases are coming out. They kind of do that, where a lot of times it's Tuesdays the physical releases and Thursdays are the eShop releases. But
right,
then
and then so there are Friday physical releases as well, like Splatoon just was.
Right, and those are usually Nintendo first-party titles. Yeah. They release on Fridays. But Namco Museum isn't a first-party title. It's also it's an eShop exclusive that's coming out on Friday when all the other eShop titles are coming out on Thursday. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. It also feels weird to have it come out, like all the rest of the new releases that day are 3DS and 2DS, exclusive, which is yeah, that makes sense. You're launching new hardware. Why is there software for the other machine on that same day?
And why, is next week, are we going to go back to having one game released on the eShop? Right? Why not make these releases make more sense? Stagger them out instead of feast and famine.
And where's Pocket Rumble?
Where's Stardew Valley? Look, I'm not angry. I know you said summer,
we're not
but
mad.
You still have weeks. But please give us a sign.
All right, those are the new releases for next week. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, what are we talking about today?
Chicken nuggets.
We're talking about chicken nuggets.
Now, you are a vegetarian.
That's correct.
And you have been for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
And, but previous to giving up meat, did you eat chicken nuggets?
Yes. And especially as a kid, I ate a lot of chicken nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
I would even go specifically chicken McNuggets.
Yes.
Loved me some chicken McNuggets.
So let's see, there's Chicken McNuggets, and then the other restaurants like Wendy's, Burger King, Carl's Jr. I guess Carl's Jr. has like
Hardee's
stars.
Carl's Jr., right?
Yeah, they have like star-shaped chicken things.
Yeah.
Burger King they had like longer,
They've got like
oblong.
Yeah, they're like chicken tenders almost,
yes.
but they are neither. Look, if we're gonna be like ranking these things,
Which I think we are.
okay, great. I just want to toss Burger King's right out.
Yeah, I agree that they are the grossest.
They're weirdly
For sure.
peppery.
Yeah, they are very peppery. Sidebar real fast. Have you ever had the Burger King chicken fries?
Yes.
So I would say these are not nuggets, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they're not even really tenders. They're their own strange invention.
Yeah. I feel like they're always burnt, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever they're like this size, we fry them for this amount of time. And you're like, no, you burn them, and now they're burnt.
I like them in theory, but in practice, I find them lacking usually.
Sure.
But would you put them above Burger King's normal chicken tenders?
I mean, yes, but only in an arbitrary ranking wherein I have to say that one Burger King chicken nuggety product is better than the other.
And that is the scenario
All
you
right.
find yourself.
All right, great.
Okay, so...
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So you mentioned Wendy's.
Uh-huh.
Now, Wendy's currently only has chicken nuggets. They used to have spicy chicken
They don't have
nuggets.
spicy anymore?
They don't have spicy anymore. This is something I'm
Weird.
keeping track of despite the fact that I don't eat chicken anymore. That's how much I like Wendy's chicken and Wendy's spicy chicken specifically.
So, that's disappointing to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it does not change my ranking, which would still be McDonald's at top, followed by Wendy's,
Right.
followed by Carl's Jr. Hardee's.
So I'm not actually sure that I've had Carl's Jr. Hardee's.
They're eerily similar to Burger King tenders.
Okay.
So, but they're in a heart shape, so moderately better. What other ones are we missing? There has to be like some other.
Well,
Are there
so
any other big ones?
Arby's has chicken tenders
Mhm.
that are surprisingly good. Like there's like a lot of white meat in them, and the breading is like kind of crispy and like it's like more, like it almost seems not fair to lump them in.
Do you remember when McDonald's had chicken selects, which were like kind of more like what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they don't have those anymore either.
Yeah, and I feel like they should not be part of the because if I were eating meat, I would every restaurant I go to order chicken tenders because they're so good. It's like the perfect meal.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You can dunk it in sauces. So I think I agree with you, with the exception that I don't really know what the Carl's Hardy nugget is.
That's fair. But you do eat like the veggie chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I do.
And where would you put? I mean, I know it's not really fair, but life isn't fair. So where would you put those?
Honestly, I put them above everything else because I can eat them.
Okay, all right.
And everyone can hear you rolling your eyes.
We're talking purely Flavor Town.
Purely flavored.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure I remember what McDonald's chicken nuggets taste like anymore.
I think, and this is from somebody who has eaten chicken nuggets probably
Today?
too recently. Not today, but very recently.
Uh-huh.
I think. Oh, we'll never know.
We'll never know what Mark thinks.
I'll tell you off mic.
All right, great. Oh, but then I'll know and no one else will. We were accompanied today by Paul Espinoza on the mandolin. Mark, that was a good conversation about chicken nuggets. Let's move into the news.
The first Pokemon Go festival was held this past weekend in Chicago, and oof, it turned out to be a huge disaster.
Great. Let's hear about it.
Who knew that getting like thousands of people into one very central location and having everybody try to open up their phone for a data-heavy app would crash the network?
Also, who would have thought that gathering a bunch of people into an unshaded park in Chicago in July was going to be a problem? It was evidently way too hot and sticky. And
there were long lines to get in. And that was even before everybody tried to capture the legendary Pokemon that was released.
Articuno, right?
Was it? I thought it was Lugia.
I feel like there were both.
Okay, I totally believe that. And so basically everybody tried to open it up, overwhelmed the cell towers. People were very upset.
Yeah, really mad at Niantic and like the organizers of the event when spokespeople from the developer like took the stage to explain what was going on or apologize. They were booed and met with chants of like, fix your game, fix your game.
I think people threw things at them, which not cool.
Not cool. Look, not cool. Have you seen the video of people throwing bread at Smash Mouth?
No, why?
I don't know. They were playing some kind of like festival. This was in like the last like 2 or 3 years. And people were throwing bread at Smash Mouth and the lead singer was not happy.
Is it like I wonder if it's like a Rocky Horror Picture Show type thing?
I don't think it is. It's not like a sign of respect.
Was it a bread festival? I don't understand.
May have been a bread festival.
So Niantic is apologizing profusely, of course. They're issuing refunds to every participant who bought tickets to the festival, which I didn't realize it was a ticketed event.
Yeah, $20, so not huge.
And then they're also gifting $100 of in-game currency to help make up for the issues. Lugia, the legendary, will also be given to all attendees, all registered attendees, and then if you didn't attend, you can start the process of capturing a legendary of your own because Lugia has started showing up for all players in raid battles.
I guess a sub news story here that we haven't been talking about because you and I are both pretty far past Pokemon Go at this point.
Yeah.
But the legendaries are in the game now,
and there are raid battles. Was that a thing before?
Oh, it was not, Mark.
I obviously Pokemon Go is hugely successful, continues to make millions of dollars a day, so they're doing fine. But I can't believe how long it has taken to get some of these features out that I feel like should have been rolling out immediately.
Right, like are part of what I would need to be invested in it from the jump, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it was all stuff that they had hoped to get, like raid battles in particular was something that they hoped to have out earlier, but were just spent so much time just like struggling to keep the network up because the game was way more popular than they anticipated, which is just an excuse, but
I mean, a good problem.
It's a comforting excuse.
A good problem to have,
yeah.
But also funny that 1 year out from Pokemon Go, we're experiencing basically the same problems that happened at Pokemon Go's launch, which like nobody could log in. It was crashing all the time.
During Pokemon Go's launch, I'm going to bring this back around. I saw Smash Mouth play at the Grove.
And you threw bread at them.
No, I did catch a Pikachu, though.
The Wii U saw a new firmware update last week, bringing it to version 5.5.2.
Hey.
The update didn't seem to include much outside of the usual stability updates, but data miners found text within the system that seems to indicate the end might be near for Miiverse. The text, which is not currently live, allegedly reads, quote, "The Miiverse service has ended. Miiverse and any software features that make use of Miiverse are now unavailable," end quote.
Okay. So long, Miiverse.
Yeah, I mean, well, not right now. It's still up.
So long, Miiverse.
It's still going, but it makes sense that sometime in the future they would pull the plug on supporting Miiverse. Except that it's active in 3DS. That's the thing, that platform that they've pledged to continue to support. So that part doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense to pull the plug on Wii U, but
yeah, I mean, I wonder if they're gonna pull that like that Miiverse connectivity on 3DS going forward. I mean, I guess we'll see. It's so weird to me that like one of the big ways that I interacted with Miiverse on the Switch was through the original Splatoon and like posting drawings and stuff.
Oh, you mean on the Wii U?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, on the Wii U. And that's still present in Splatoon 2 on the Switch, just without Miiverse.
Right.
So like they don't need Miiverse to do Miiverse things.
Yeah.
So long, Miiverse.
Eventually. Not right now. Pre-orders for the SNES Classic Edition were open last Friday for about 40 minutes on Walmart.com.
I love this.
There's confusion though, as many, but not all of those pre-orders have been canceled, continue to be canceled. There are some people who still have theirs, but nobody really knows what's happening with it. There are customer service reps. There are reports of customer service reps telling people that pre-orders accidentally went live early, and so all the orders are going to be canceled. It's really unclear what's going on.
So cards on the table. Did you pre-order a SNES from Walmart.com?
No, I was at dinner when it happened, so I wasn't even aware. Did you?
No, I also was not aware of it until after it had closed. But if I had, and if I had not heard anything back, I would assume that my pre-order had been canceled.
Like, wait.
I would assume that I did not get one.
Oh yeah, me too. I would operate even if mine never got like officially canceled.
Yeah.
I would operate under the assumption I was not getting one,
So
that way I wouldn't be disappointed.
we're all just about
Life is about minimizing
disappointment.
disappointment. It really is. Target has confirmed that they will be taking pre-orders for the SNES Classic Edition sometime in the future, but that's all they're saying. Who knows when it'll be? It might be happening right now. We won't know.
Yeah, until it has happened and they're already sold out. And it looks like Walmart sold out in 40 minutes.
Which is a long time.
It is kind of a long time.
I mean, maybe it was because people weren't expecting it, and so it wasn't like crushed. But
yeah, Walmart's a
maybe
big
it means
retailer though. Like
that's true. So maybe they got more stock. Maybe it really was a huge mistake, because if they're canceling all these pre-orders, it's not like they're intending to fulfill them. So
right.
So who knows? It's all a mess. So
Yeah.
thank you, Nintendo of America. It's an enormous mess.
Oh, and the ongoing communication about it? Mwah! Beautiful.
Because really, relationships are about communication.
That's right.
And Nintendo's excelling at that. Speaking of the Nintendo Classic Edition consoles, Nintendo filed trademarks for 4 different controllers in Europe on July 18th. The controllers were the NES controller, the SNES controller, the Switch controllers, and the N64 controller. So the N64 controller caught everyone's eye because all of those, except for the N64 controller, have in common is they are in use by Nintendo currently.
Now,
so the speculation is that the N64 Classic Edition will be coming next year.
on the way.
Yeah.
Let me ask this. Maybe this is a dumb question. So they filed trademarks but it's already a piece of hardware that they have manufactured in the past. Is it just like re-upping on the...
So I think what the trademark is an actual is a line drawing of these devices.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're filing a trademark on the actual hardware. I think what they're filing is on the top of the Classic Edition of the NES Classic Edition box, they have that line art of the NES controller in broader bold strokes.
Yeah, got it.
That for the N64 controller, I think, is what they are trademarking, is that actual image.
Well, consistent with things we've theorized before, right? That if they are continuing down this track, it would make perfect sense for them to release a Nintendo 64 Classic Edition next holiday.
What do you think? Another $20 bump? So are we looking at $100? Maybe 20 games? Do you think that's a dynamic that we should expect to continue?
Man, what an interesting question. I think you and I could have an entire conversation about what we think the N64 Classic would be or could be or should be, and cannot be for a number of reasons. There can't be any rare games on there, like Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark.
There probably can't, but also Microsoft and Nintendo, they sometimes have these chummy relationships. So I would never say never, but I agree that it seems unlikely.
Yeah, I would say especially for Banjo, because if not both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, then just Banjo-Kazooie was recently released on the Rare Replay Collection, which is a Microsoft exclusive at the moment. But I mean, GoldenEye is a problem just because the license for the James Bond
Right.
IP is, I'm sure, tied up in some weird ways.
Yeah, with like Activision or something at this point.
Yeah.
So it would be, and if you release it without GoldenEye,
Yeah.
that's a huge omission.
Huge omission. Because, I mean, so much of what made the Nintendo 64 great was specific to the time. Like, Mario Kart 64, great at the time. I think people would have a really hard time going back to that now. And I think the same is true of GoldenEye, but the name has such draw that, like, if, the opportunity to play GoldenEye on a Nintendo 64 Classic again would be its own kind of reward. What do you think? So, Super Nintendo Classic comes packed with 2 controllers. What do you think about this one?
I mean, two minimum.
Okay.
But 4 would be ideal, but I don't think they would come with 4.
If it doesn't come with 4, you're never gonna get 4.
Right, unless they make a lot of them, which ha ha ha.
Ha 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 ha. Very funny, Mark.
But yeah, that would be the ideal way to play it. Or at least GoldenEye. That's the thing, is it's really all or I guess Mario Kart.
GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong 64 had a 4-player mode. If Diddy Kong Racing is in there, that would be another one. I think you could do 4-player on like Wave Race, probably Excite. Is it Excite Bike 64 or Excite Truck? That's the Wii one. I mean, there are 4-player games, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe for like $100, $120.
Yeah, I wonder at what point you like trip that, like what's the line where it becomes too much?
Also, I mean, we don't have to dwell on this too much because it's all theoretical, but at some point, the N64 controller is big and bulky, and shipping 2 of those in a box is a lot.
It's going to be a big
shipping 4 of those in a box is like enormous. Too much. Yeah.
Also, do they have Rumble Packs?
Great question.
So Star Fox, that's another one.
Yeah.
Another 4-player game.
Yeah. So once you get past the 16-bit era, it gets a lot more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I guess we'll see. Splatoon 2's first actual Splatfest has been announced for the first weekend in August. In North America and Europe, players are being asked to choose between mayonnaise and ketchup. This seems like an incredibly easy choice to me.
Yeah.
Like ketchup all day, every day.
Yeah, I can see. I think mayonnaise is more of a regional thing, right? Like, isn't that more of like a Canadian/European condiment?
I definitely think ketchup is less popular in both of those places.
Yeah. Do you know who's representing which condiment?
I think it's Pearl is mayonnaise, ketchup is Marina, but that's purely in the logo. Mayonnaise is on the left. And so I'm assuming that's
where
Pearl
is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if that's the case, then mayonnaise doesn't stand a chance.
Well, I wonder if they like specifically were like, I don't know. This one seems less
desirable.
Yeah.
Less sexy. What do you want to say, Mark?
I guess that. All those things. But yeah, I think mayonnaise is kind of gross.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got nothing against mayonnaise.
What are you saying? What team are you on?
I have not yet picked a side. Can we pick sides yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I'll play on Team Ketchup so I can play with you. But if it weren't, I would have to think about it a little bit.
That's crazy to me.
I would just.
No, I mean, I respect you still. I'm just saying that's crazy to me.
All right. That was an extreme reverse on that. Only makes me think you don't respect me at all.
There are new Splatoon 2 rewards available on the North American My Nintendo portal now. These are the same rewards available on the European store. I'm bringing this up mostly as an opportunity so I can complain about how terrible the My Nintendo rewards are.
So wait a minute. When you say there are Splatoon 2 rewards, what does that mean?
It's like wallpapers for your phone, I guess. And
can't download those anywhere.
There's maybe a theme. There's a theme for like your 3DS, maybe a theme for your Switch. Like they did this with Hey Pikmin, I think, as well. Like basically
Pikmin.
Was that your neighbor?
Yeah.
Poking his head in the window. Because your life is a sitcom. Yeah, I just feel like the rewards have been really bad ever since they started My Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
versus what was it, Club Nintendo before, where they
Yeah,
would actually send out physical rewards.
yeah. I mean, I've used some of the digital rewards just to get to buy other games for less than I would otherwise.
Right, they do discounts fairly often.
Yeah, but I mean, that's in some ways it feels bad to use your coins on a sale, which is just like an opportunity for you to give them money for something. Um, like I wasn't gonna buy the game anyway, but it's 30% off. I'll do it. So yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you that I'm not super excited about the My Nintendo rewards. I wonder if they have any intention of changing that or making it better. Um, Part of me believes that we are still sort of in like the like out there in the wild beta for Switch, and that once the online service is live and Mario Odyssey is out and it's the holidays, that's when like the system is really like out, ready for prime time. And so we'll see if any of that. Probably not.
Translated, yeah, I don't think it will. I think they transitioned away from Club Nintendo specifically so they don't have to send out those cool physical rewards anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So I think those days are over. And of course, with the launch of Splatoon 2 came the launch of the Nintendo Switch online app for smart devices. Do we want to talk about this now, or do we want to talk about it more on Thursday?
Let's talk about it more on Thursday because we used it a little bit
That's
to
right.
to play Splatoon. So.
Needless to say, hasn't had a great response.
No.
And when we were using that, I feel like a lot of the complaints are fair. But yeah, we can talk about it more on Thursday.
Absolutely.
So, following reports from IGN about the possibility or lack thereof of Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to Switch,
Mm-hmm.
Tetsuya Nomura clarified in Famitsu that when speaking with IGN, he didn't specifically call out the Switch, but merely said that they are focused on the announced platforms and that any other platforms wouldn't be considered until afterward. Basically, he wanted to make it very clear that we shouldn't expect a Switch port anytime soon.
Which I think was the message we got loud. We booed him last week, so, so I think we got the message.
That's right. This week's boo goes to My Nintendo Rewards.
Mm-hmm. Boo.
Boo. Metroid Samus Returns amiibo functionality was detailed. And I'm going to let you cover this because you're a little more versed in amiibo than I am.
Sure. So the 3DS game will support all 4 Metroid amiibo, including the Samus and Zero Suit Samus from the Smash Brothers amiibo set, which is good. I've got both those, and I've got the other 2 waiting for me, probably from Walmart.com. I should see if that order has been canceled. So each one of them you can tap to activate a reserve tank of some kind. The Samus from Smash Brothers is a missile reserve. Zero Suit gives like an energy tank. The Samus from this series activates a Aeon reserve tank, which is the sort of like special energy that Samus uses. And tapping the Metroid will give you a marker on your map of the nearest Metroid that you need to take out. In addition to that, all 4 of them have like post-game functionality that you can tap after you've completed the game. Usually it's to unlock either like the sound test mode so you can listen to all the music or some art galleries. The Metroid, when you tap it, will access Fusion mode, which is a higher difficulty level that you play with the Fusion suit from Metroid Fusion. So it sounds like a master quest of sorts. With just the Metroid amiibo.
So are we giving what would be the opposite of like boo, like our moo of the week?
We can give our moo of the week.
Our moo of the week goes to Metroid Samus Returns amiibo functionality.
A moo?
Moo.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good amiibo functionality. It sounds like nothing too substantial, with the exception of that fusion mode. Like that seems. I'm gonna get the amiibo, but like. If I weren't going to get the amiibo, I would kind of be a little bit disappointed that.
I was going to say, is this one of the first times that Nintendo has locked like a mode like this behind amiibo?
So the original Splatoon locked the like challenge version of all the single player levels behind the amiibo. So sort of that.
Oh, okay.
But I think I think that's the only other example I can think of.
The one thing that I do like about this is that each, like you were saying, each of the amiibo has its own function. Whereas a lot of times, especially recent, like with Breath of the Wild and some other games, I feel like it's like any of these amiibos will unlock
Right.
this stuff.
Any amiibo is Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And since I am getting the Metroid amiibo, if you want to tap it into yours and get the fusion mode once you beat the game, you are welcome to it. Of course.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you're playing Ultra Street Fighter 2 on Switch and feel there are neither enough solo characters. Wait, what? Is that right?
Yeah. Sorry, I wrote this one. Let me just read it.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
If you're playing Ultra Street Fighter 2 on Switch and feel that there are neither enough Shoto characters nor enough evil versions of existing characters, Capcom has revealed that Shin Akuma is playable in the game. You don't need to do anything to unlock him. There's no like feats you need to accomplish, but there is some weird stuff you need to do on the character, like the character select screen to actually get him. You go. Let me walk you through it. You go to select Ryu, and then back out of it. Then you go to Ken, and you select him. You go to costume number 9, back out of that. Sagat, costume number 8, back out. M. Bison, costume number 7, back out. Then go to the random. There's like a random space, which is a question mark, and push L and R at the same time. Then and only then will Shin Akuma become available and playable for you.
Is that supposed to be fun?
Doing that?
Yeah.
So it is a little bit. It felt very like 90s fighting game to me to do that.
Was it something that has been there all this time, and
I
they're
don't know.
just now like or was there like an update to the game?
I do not know, Mark. He's basically just a more powerful version of Akuma.
Gotcha. A little bit of Nintendo adjacent news, but relevant to our interests in video games and comic books. Sega and Archie Comics announced the end of their 24-year partnership, which means the end of Archie published Sonic comics.
They are ending on like part 3 of a 4-part story arc.
Oh, no way. So
Yeah.
they're like really like
hard stop, yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder what happened to make it end like that. But IDW has picked up the license, illustrating basically what a powerhouse IDW has become in the past few years, especially when it comes to these like licensed titles.
Yeah, and not just like a powerhouse in that like they are selling pretty well, but I feel like IDW is better with their licensed material than basically any other publisher. Really putting in the hard work and having good art and good stories. I love the Ninja Turtle series coming out of IDW. But they've got a bunch of other good stuff too.
Well, what I thought was interesting was that as soon as the end of Sega and Archie's relationship was, I'm sure that's a fanfic somewhere.
Absolutely.
But as soon as the end of their relationship was announced, there was a little bit of time before the new publisher was announced.
Yeah, just a couple days.
Yeah, but in that time, most people were speculating they'd immediately go to IDW, which I feel like is a real bellwether to the current state of other like indie publishers at this time. Like there was no question were they going to go to Dark Horse? Were they going to go? You know, like there was never
it's
really
not going to go
question.
to Image. It doesn't make sense. It needs to have some like steward of the intellectual property. It's interesting that they're leaving Archie, just because like Archie Comics has done so much internal rebranding in the last couple years. With Riverdale and Afterlife with Archie and the relaunched Sabrina, and even like the relaunched all of like the Archie comics themselves, Archie and Jughead, and all of those, that they could just like relaunch Sonic under that like more careful, smarter banner that they're doing. But
well, now that you said, 24 years is a really long time too.
Yeah.
So now that you said that they're ending it like in the middle of an arc, I wonder if they were in contract negotiations to extend the license that somehow fell apart.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So, one or both parties is being a little bit vindictive.
Yeah, it's got to just be a money thing, right?
Yeah.
That either IDW was like, yeah, we'll pay you more for the Sonic license, but we need it now, or something.
Yeah. So pretty interesting. Finally, actor Harvey Atkin passed away this past week from cancer. He was the voice of King Koopa in 3 different Mario animated series in the 80s and 90s, the only actor to reprise his role in every series. Atkin was involved with the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, The Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3, and the new Super Mario World series.
That's sad. Not great series, but that's sad. All right, Mark, let's move out of the news. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the news-focused episode here of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. If you like the episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter or in real life. It doesn't matter how little reach you think you have. It means a lot to us. You can follow us on Twitter at NinCart Society. Check out the Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions about IDW and comic books, you can check out our reviews and discussions on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can find more of 8-Bit Betty's music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying moo. And thanks for listening.
What's a Creative Podcast Network?
Hi guys, I'm Julia Meltzer. I want to tell you about my show on the What's a Creative Network. It's called Honey. On Honey, I interview real couples about how they fight, what they fight about, how they got over it. It's basically like if you've ever seen a couple almost get into a fight at a dinner party or something, and you wish you could be like, hey, whoa, like what is that really about? That's the conversation we get to have on Honey. So check us out. Subscribe to Honey on the What's a Creative Network. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Honey with Julia. We're on Facebook at Honey with Julia Meltzer. And I hope to be seeing you soon.